Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium here on Tuesday night for a CUC volleyball matchup. Concordia Chicago taking on the visiting Aurora Spartans, the nationally ranked number 10 Aurora, coming into River Forest looking to continue what has been a strong season so far. And they'll take possession to start, and that'll just touch down on the Cougars' side. So Aurora strikes first with a service ace for Mateo Sharash. Sharash back to serve again. And that's going to be another ace, back-to-back for Sharash. And service aces is something that this Aurora team excels at. 2.14 per set. That ranks them 10th nationally. As Sharash sets up for another serve. And this one touches down again. Van Gato looking at his team in confusion. 3 straight aces for Sharash. And Aurora having the set of their lives so far. Sharash, another serve. And the Cougars will be able to receive this one. And that's going to be blocked at the line by Logan Brower. Tyler Hollebeck can't get it across. And Aurora up to an early 4-0 lead. That serve is out the back, so Sharash's run ends at 4. CUC will take possession back. And serving off for the first time tonight is Michael Cardenas, a freshman out of Chicago. Cardenas' first serve is straight into the net. One serve, one service error for the Cougars. And Aurora brings it back to a 4-point gap, 5-1. And dropping back to serve is number 16, Sebastian Suzuki. And Suzuki gets that across. Mosher will set for Johnson. And that's going to be a kill. Tate Johnson gets it to fall. A tough play for Sharash on the other end of the court. And CUC picks up their first offensive point of the night. And back to serve now is Leon Godzowski. Godzowski sends that across. And that just touches down on the back line. An ace for Godzowski. Alex Nonoff was shocked by the call. Godzowski sends it across, received by Sharash, set up by Brower, and power down for the kill. 6-3 now for the Spartans as they killed the Momentum Cougars on 2 consecutive points. Now back to serve for the first time tonight, Logan Brower. And he'll send that across. Cardenas receives. Mosher sets up Hollebeck. And Hollebeck drops that down on the back line. CUC kills that run before it can even begin. And now Hollebeck himself will drop back to serve. Hollebeck tips it off the net. That's set up, and another kill for Ethan Kane off the block of the Cougars. And Aurora prevents CUC from gaining any momentum once again. And now Josh McClellan will drop back to serve. McClellan, the junior out of Calgary, sends that across. Gato receives. Mosher sets for Johnson. Another one for Tate Johnson. Cougars managing to just stay within 2 or 3 for the last few points, not letting Aurora pull away anymore. Johnson now back to serve. They'll send that. Drops in on the back line. Tate Johnson could not have placed that better. And CUC has another service ace and is back within 1 point. Johnson looking to make it 3 in a row now for the Cougars. Tosses it up, sends it across. Sharash receives. Brower sets. And that is out the back line. Dale can't get it to drop, and the Cougars have tied it up 7-7. Tate Johnson leading a 3-0 run, longest of the Cougars tonight. They'll send that one across, and that's a long dig. And that's a point to the Cougars. A reach over the net, tagged on Brower, and the Concordia Chicago has their first lead of the night at 8-7, a 4-0 run with Tate Johnson behind the wheel. Johnson tosses it up and sends it back across. Brower sets that up. Now Moshe receives over to Gato. Gato setting up Alexander. That's a cross received. And Dale, off Dale's head again! CUC's defense holds strong. Solomon Dale gets lost on the front line, and Concordia Chicago has a 2-point lead. Johnson gets that across again. Sharash to Brower, back to Sharash. Johnson receives. Mosher sets up Armstrong. That'll be set up for Dale, and Hollebeck can't receive cleanly. Dale finally gets some redemption, and Aurora will take possession back at 9-8. Back to serve is Ethan Kane. Kane sends it across. Johnson receives. Mosher sets for Armstrong. That'll be set for Dale. Make that 2 in a row for Solomon Dale. And Aurora evens it right back up at 9. A perfect response to all the momentum that CUC gained in their possession. Kane across. Mosher sets up Hollebeck. Cougars keep it alive. Mosher taps across. That's a long pass over to Shrash. Just has to send it over. Gato to Mosher to Hollebeck. Blocked out of bounds. Another kill for Tyler Hollebeck. And CUC back up by 1. Hollebeck wasn't playing to start this season. Now that he has been playing, he has come on big for the Cougars. Leads them in kills per set. He has been a force for Concordia. Now Ford will send that across. Sharash gets his whiff at it, and that'll drop in on the far corner. Now it's the Cougars' turn to question a call. Greg Manos trying to argue his side with the officials. Tied back up at 10-10. Connor Carroll, the sophomore, one of the 2 youngest players on this Aurora starting 7 tonight. Back to serve. Off the net. Gato to Mosher. Straight to good. Zovsky. And the Cougars waste no time with that play. And they get back on top 11-10. Leon Gonzalez had himself a solid season so far. Picks up his first kill of the night. Now Mosher sends it across. Brower sets for Sharash. And that's straight into the net. Errant hit from Mateo Sharash. And the Cougars back up by 2, 12-10. Mosher back to serve. Across. Now Brower sets up Suzuki and Suzuki. No time wasted. Aurora takes possession back. And now Sharash will head to the service line for the second time tonight. Had 3 straight aces his first trip serving. This time it's received by Johnson. Mosher sets for Armstrong. And Ty Reese Armstrong slams that down on the far corner. Concordia Chicago has done a remarkable job of responding to Aurora's points tonight. They are back up by 2. Michael Cardenas back into the game to serve. That's this one across. Sharash receives to Brower. Over to McClellan, and McClellan, perfect touch to find the gap in the defense. And Aurora takes possession back. Now Suzuki back to serve. Sent across, received by Gato. Mosher sets up Johnson, who's blocked at the net, and then a double touch. Sebastian Suzuki evens it up at 13. He'll have a chance to give Aurora the lead with another serve. Sent across, received by Cardenas. Mosher sets for Gadzowski. Works so nice the first time, why not try it twice? Leon Gadzowski, his second kill on the exact play he got his first on, and he'll head back to serve once again. Received by Sharash. Brower sets over to McClellan. McClellan, another kill. Josh McClellan has been remarkable this season. He leads the NAC in kills per set with 4. He just picks up his second for this set. 15th nationally in kills per set, not to mention 216 kills on the season. He is the offensive leader for this Spartan squad. Now Mosher sets up forward, blocked at the net. Mosher over to Hollabeck, blocked at the net and down. Cougars can't get around the Aurora defense, and the Spartans have the lead back. It's 15-14 Aurora. Brower back to serve once more. Sends it across. Cardenas able to receive it. Now Gato over to Johnson, just slaps it across. Brower sets over to McClellan. And the Cougars defense gets lost once again. Another kill for Josh McClellan. And Aurora is up by 2. Brower will serve once more. Gato up to Mosher, over to Hollabeck. Off the head of Ethan Kane for a kill. And a much needed break in momentum from CUC. Hollabeck picks it up and he'll head back to serve. Gets it across, McClellan. Over to Kane, and Kane can't get it over the net. It was a low set from Brower. Kane wasn't able to get enough under it, and the Cougars have tied it back up at 16. Brower sets for Kane, and the Cougars defense is caught lacking again. Kane saw the gap and just tapped it right to it. Now 17-16. And it's Josh McClellan dropping back to serve. McClellan sends it across, and Cardenas' reception is straight into the bleachers. That'll make it another server saves, another 2-point lead for Aurora, as Greg Manos will call his first time out of the night with the Cougars trailing by 2. They've managed to stay in it with the 10th ranked team in the nation so far, and they'll look to pull off a small comeback in set number 1 here in River Forest. We'll be right back on the Cougar Sports Network. Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium. Concordia Chicago trails 16-18 to 10th Aurora. And Josh McClellan retaining the serve on the Spartan side of the court. McClellan currently tied for the team lead with 3 kills tonight, hitting at a .750 percentage so far. 1 service ace, so try to add on to that here. And he'll add on a service error straight into the net. And Concordia Chicago will take possession back. Tate Johnson, who led the Cougars' largest run of the night for either team, dropping back to serve. Johnson tosses it up, gets it across. Not off to Brower, now to Dale. Hollebeck receives, Mosher sets for Armstrong, blocked at the net. Ford keeps it alive. Mosher over to Hollebeck, mid-range. Aurora's going to keep it alive. McClellan, long-range kill for the junior. And Aurora on their back foot picks up the point. Cougars can't press the advantage. And the Spartans back up by 2. As into the game for the first time tonight is Reese Wojtrowski, and he'll drop back to serve. Wojtrowski gets it across. Mosher sets up Ford, and that's Alexander Ford's first kill of the night. A nice running shot to the middle of the court, and Ford brings possession back to CUC. He'll head back to serve. Ford gets it across. McClellan received. Brower setting up Dale. And that's going to drop just down on the back line. Solomon Dale, another one, make it 3 on the night. And Aurora is back up by 2. The Cougars, they've been going point for point in the last couple of changes of possession, but they've been unable to claw back in. Next serve now is Connor Carroll. Carroll gets it across. Cougars keep it alive. And that is going to be called a lift on Tyrese Armstrong. Just had to panic on the busted possession. Well, now it's a 3-point lead. Timeout called by Greg Manos. And Aurora very much in control of what is a relatively close matchup. Right now in River Forest, they lead by 3. Josh McClellan leads both teams with 4 kills. That matches his per set average. I mean, look at the hitting percentage on both of these teams. Concordia Chicago having a solid night with a 286 hit percentage, but Aurora 350, and a lot of that is being led by Josh McClellan's 800%. 4 kills on 5 attempts, no errors, only error coming out of service error. He is having himself a night on offense, as is Solomon Dale, as is Ethan Kane. The Cougars managing to stay in it so far. Tyler Hollebeck with 3 kills, Tate Johnson and Leon Godzowski with 2 apiece. The Cougars putting up a strong fight in a matchup where they will be heavily underdogs in. Concordia Chicago has, on the season as a whole, struggled, especially in conference play. They won their conference opener against Rockford, and they've dropped to 1-4 in the NAC since. Aurora, they remain undefeated in the NAC, 4-0, 15-2 overall. They've worked their way up to 10th nationally. Dan Ames's program is turning into a juggernaut this season as Carroll sends it across. Armstrong receives to Mosher, back to Armstrong. Now Brower to Carroll, and off of Armstrong's head and out of bounds. Makes it a 4-point lead for the team in blue. Carroll gets that out of bounds. Service error will end the run. Concordia Chicago, a much-needed break as they'll take possession back. They trail by 3. Aurora's only 3 points away from finishing with the win. Mosher sends it across, non-off to Brower, over to Sharash. And out of bounds off the block of Gudzovsky all the way across the court. Not what the Cougars were looking for. Now Sharash will head back to serve with just 2 points away from taking set number 1. Sharash across, received by Gato, off the ceiling, and across will make it a point for Aurora. A tough bounce off the ceiling, and Aurora now at set point. Do or die for Concordia. Sharash across, received by Johnson. Mosher sets up Hollabeck, and a much-needed kill for Tyler Hollabeck off the head of Connor Carroll. The CUC will take possession back. Need 4 straight points to head it, send it to extra volleyball. Can't give up any, and it's Michael Cardenas back to serve. Gets it across, Sharash to Brower, over to McClellan, and that's an error. The first of the night for Josh McClellan, out of bounds on the near side, and Cardenas will drop back to serve once more. Cardenas sends it across. Sharash to Brower. Suzuki's kill is blocked. Now Hollabeck well out of bounds on the far side. The Cougars calling for it to be tipped. The official having none of it. And Aurora wins set number 1, 25-21. The Spartans, they led early, they lead at the end. Concordia Chicago, despite a strong middle of the set, can't come away with a set win. And these two teams will take a break between sets 1 and 2. They'll switch sides, of course. We'll take a break here at the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a couple minutes for set number 2 of tonight's matchup between Aurora and Concordia. And welcome back to River Forest here on Tuesday night. Concordia Chicago trails 1-0 to Aurora, dropping set number 1, 25-21. Strong middle of the set from Concordia. They led for a good bit, but Aurora too strong at the beginning, too strong at the end. I mean, you look at some of those big numbers. Aurora has some, doesn't feel like it. They have committed more errors than the Cougars, but Concordia Chicago not able to capitalize enough, hitting 250 as a team. Aurora hitting 333 as a team. They're getting more kills on fewer attempts as Eli Mosher drops back to serve. Now Brower sets up for Sharash and perfectly placed. Aurora. I mean, this team has been coached up incredibly well by Dan Ames. That recognition of when to go for a power shot versus when to just use that level of touch and drop in a tapper. And the gap has been incredible. Now Sharash sends it across. Mosher sets up Gudzovsky. This time the set's low. That's going to be 2 points in a row for Aurora. They take an early 2-0 lead. Sharash sends it back across, and that reception's out of bounds. Another service ace for Mateo Sharash. And this time, it's a very solid service error, well out the back of the court. Not a win, Sharash is running the line, but 5 service aces on the night for Mateo Sharash, having himself an incredible night serving so far. As now Michael Cardenas drops back to serve. Received by Sharash. And that's just over the net. The Cougars trying to press the advantage, and they will not be able to. McClellan responds with a kill. Josh McClellan, his first action of the set. And Aurora takes possession back and a 3-point lead back. They lead 4-1. Suzuki sends that out of bounds on the far side of the court. So a service error for the sophomore. He heads off the court as Leon Gudzovsky drops back to serve for Concordia. A lot of that team hitting percentage being buoyed by what used to be a perfect hitting percentage for Gudzovsky. As Brower feints the set, and the Cougars fall for it. Cardina is lunging to try and save it, and he's unable to do so. Aurora back up to a 3-point lead, 5-2 now. Brower across, Mosher sets for Ford. Now Brower setting across McClellan, too much sauce. Another error, the Cougars take possession back. Tyler Hollebeck back to serve. Gets it across, received by McClellan. Low reception, Brower able to get it over to Dale. Gators reception straight back across. Now Brower setting up McClellan, who gets up there and just places it right where he wants. Another one for Josh McClellan. And he'll drop back to serve himself now. McClellan sends it across, received by Gato. Mosher setting over to Johnson. Sharash to Brower to Dale. And that's a kill for Solomon Dale. Aurora up to an early 4-point lead in set number 2. And the 6'9" attacker out of Calgary drops back to serve once again. McClellan across, received by Gato. Mosher gonna set up Ford. Received by McClellan. And a heads-up play from Ethan Kane to slap it across. 5-point lead for Aurora, and they're gonna force an early timeout out of Greg Manos. He's gonna try and get his team back on the right track. with a timeout, and this is really just timeout to give that team a break. All the momentum on the Spartan side of the court. Concordia very much on the back foot early, and after a first set where you really did have put up a strong fight, Concordia now falling very much on the back foot, trying to keep it from getting too out of hand in set number 2. Josh McClellan now up to 6 kills on the night, 2 kills already in this set. 6 service aces on the night so far for Aurora, 5 of those for Mateo Sharash. That sets a season high in aces for the junior. And you look to those single game high in aces. That's always when you start to look out for those sorts of totals, when you get around that 5 mark on aces. And 5 aces, tied for second in 3 set totals, tied for third in all set totals, and Sharash should have a couple more opportunities to try and up those numbers as Josh McClellan drops back to serve once again. On with service ace to his name himself tonight. He'll send this across, received by Johnson, forward over to Hollebeck. Blocked at the line, Mosher can't control it. And the Cougars, not the response they needed out of the timeout. They trail by 6, their largest deficit of the night. McClellan across once more. Received by Gato. Mosher going to set up Johnson, and Johnson can't even get it over the net. Another one for Aurora, and the Cougars are making it easy on the Spartans. And Spartans defense hasn't even had to touch the ball in the last couple of points. McClellan back to serve once again with a 7-point lead now. He'll get that across. Received by Hollebeck. Mosher sets up Ford, who just touches that across. Perfectly played by Alexander Ford. Sharash can't save it, and the Cougars finally kill Aurora's run and take possession back. Tate Johnson will drop back to serve. Johnson straight into the net. And the Cougars' run gets ended before it even begins. Not what CUC needs in a big deficit. And Wyatt Katrowski will head back into the game to serve for the second time tonight. Received by Hollebeck. Mosher. A little dump off. Well received by Cisniewski. And they're going to tag the Cougars for a net violation. Up to an 8-point lead now for Aurora. Wojciechowski out of bounds. And Reese Wojciechowski in his 3 attempts tonight has 2 service errors. He'll head back out of the game. Alex Nonoff replacing him. Ford will serve for Concordia, and he serves it straight out of bounds. The Cougars unable to get any consecutive points since they ended that timeout. They only have 2 points since they ended that timeout. Carroll to serve now. Received by Gato. Mosher sets up Guzovsky. Blocked at the line. And Guzovsky off his head. Can't play the touch and just drops to the ground. Another forced time out. Aurora up by 9. Cougars trying to get it together in set number 2. They'll take a break from the game on the court. We'll take a break here at the Cougar Sports Network, and we'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to River Forest. Cougars very much on the back foot in set number 2. They trail by 9, 14-5. Aurora getting the momentum and continuing to press the advantage. Back to serve is Connor Carroll. He'll send that across, received by Johnson. Mosher sets over to Armstrong. And that is straight into the net. Cougars unable to get the response they need out of the timeout again, and they trail by 10. Carroll sends it across and out of bounds. So Cougars, they'll get bailed out by an error again. We'll see if they can pick up a second point off of it. They haven't been able to do that in more than 10 Aurora points. Mosher gets it across. Brower sets up Suzuki. Now McClellan from mid-range. Mosher, he'll set up no one. And it's going to end up as a kill for the Cougars. Mosher confused his own teammates. It confused Aurora even more. And CUC picks up a second consecutive point. They have it back at an 8-point deficit, 7-15. Mosher just over the net. Brower sets up Sharash, and Sharash just overpowers the Cougar defense. That's off of Gato and into the bleachers. And he'll drop back to serve once more. Oh, you're on conference single game high watch for Sharash. And it's not an ace, but it's an easy kill for Aurora. Poor reception from Tyrese Armstrong. McClellan's there to reap the benefits. 17-7 for the Spartans. Sharash sends that across. Mosher sets Gudzovsky. Brower sets Suzuki. Miscommunication between Johnson and Mosher. Another lost point for Concordia. They trail by 11, and this team very much lost in set number 2. Josh throws it up, sends it across. Gato to Mosher to Hollebeck. Now Brower sets Suzuki, and the Cougars aren't able to save it. Another kill for Suzuki, and a 12-point lead for Aurora. Sharash just over the net. Hollebeck to Mosher. This time to Armstrong. Straight into the net again. And another point for Aurora, and the Cougars just look to be on autopilot to the end of this set. They trail by 13. Sharash up and across. Mosher sets over to Hollebeck. Aurora is able to save it. McClellan off the block, out of bounds. Another kill for McClellan. That matches his 4 kill per set total. And the Cougars now trail by 14. Sharash will continue to serve. And he'll send that across. Hollebeck to Mosher to Hollebeck. Wow, out of bounds. Makes it a 15-point game. Sharash will continue to serve. Tosses it up. Gets it over. Hollebeck to Mosher. He'll go back to Hollebeck. Blocked! And down on the Cougars' end, another one for Aurora. They lead by 16. 8-0 scoring run now. Trosh tosses it up and sends it out of bounds. His end run ends with an error, but it's an 8-0 run for Aurora. They now lead by 15, and the Cougars just trying to get to the end of the set now as Michael Cardenas comes into the game to serve. Managed to get it across. Now Brower sets it over to Carroll, who wastes no time on that one. bringing it to match point for the Spartans. Suzuki thought he was going to serve. Instead, they'll sub in Nathan Anderson, the senior out of Sugar Grove, Illinois, for the serve. Now Anderson trying to finish off the set. And he will with an ace. Johnson can't receive it cleanly. And Aurora celebrates a dominant 17.25-8 set number 2 victory in Concordia, Chicago. They kept it close in set number 1. Couldn't even keep it at all close. In set number 2, they drop it by 17, and Aurora stays dominant. We'll take a break here on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a couple minutes for set number 3 of tonight's matchup. And welcome back to River Forest here on the Cougar Sports Network. Aurora looking to finish off a 3-set sweep. They've taken the first 2, and they took the last set in dominant fashion, a 25-8 set 2 victory. And they'll look to continue that momentum right into set 3. Cougars very much on the back foot, looking to get momentum into this one. Sean Beckman into the game for CUC. And Beckman just now working into this Cougars roster this season after finishing up his season with the Cougars basketball team. That basketball season ended with a loss in the first round of playoffs. at Concordia, Wisconsin. Now Beckman will get action on the front line for the Cougars. Back to serve for Aurora is Luke Dwyer. Dwyer sends that across. Armstrong, Kozowski over to Beckman. Dwyer gets it to McClellan. And McClellan's jaw drops it, getting the kill there. Drops it over and miscommunicates between Hollebeck and Armstrong, lets it drop down. 1 point lead for Aurora. Now Dwyer sends it across again. Mosher sets up Beckman. McClellan to Hollebeck. Mosher able to save it, and Armstrong sends it into the net. Nearly a great save for Eli Mosher. Armstrong can't get it over. 2-0 lead for Aurora. Luke Dwyer drops back to serve. He'll get that across. Hollebeck to Mosher to Gudzovsky. And that'll end the run. Sharash straight into the net. And the Cougars, they'll take possession for the first time this set, 2-1. Cardenas back into the match to serve. Cardenas up and over. Sharash to Dwyer. Sets up Kane, who just slams that down at Van Gato's feet. Another one for Ethan Kane, his 5th kill of the night. That makes it a 3-1 game for Aurora. Josh McClellan back to serve. McClellan across. Gato receives. Mosher saves. Heck of a save by Mosher. Now Aurora trying to respond, and they do. S.J. Nelson wastes no time with his opportunity. First time he's touched it tonight. First kill of the night. 4-1 lead for Aurora. Spartans just doing whatever they want to the Cougars right now. Eli Mosher doing everything he can to keep his team alive. McClellan across. Gato to Mosher, and they're going to tag that as a error on the Cougars. Greg Manos receives a card. He is fired up at that call, and I'd be tempted to agree with Greg Manos. That ball was on the Cougars' side of the court. Everything falling against Concordia right now, as McClellan drops back to serve. And McClellan straight into the net. The Cougars, they'll say ball don't lie as they take possession back. As Leon Gudzovsky drops back to serve. Received by Nonoff. Dwyer sets up Kane, and that's out of bounds. Gudzovsky has another chance to serve now. Sharash, now Nelson. Out of bounds. They'll tag that one to the Cougars. Nelson just couldn't get enough angle on it. That brings the Cougars within 1, 4-5. Gudzovsky sends it across. Sharash to Dwyer. Sets up Kane. And that one's out of bounds, off the net and out. The Cougars even it up at 5. Aurora getting a bit messy on offense. And Gudzovsky will continue to serve, looking to keep a 4-0 run going. And he won't, straight into the net. And that'll give Aurora the lead straight back. Martin McKee coming into the game now for Aurora. Cardenas to Mosher. Holobeck gets it over. Nelson sets up Dwyer, gets it over to Sharash. Now Mosher sets up Johnson. And that is a block and a kill for Aurora. Back up by 2. Front line right now, Martin McKee, S.J. Nelson, 2 graduates of Brother Rice High School in Chicago. As there's an ace for Ethan Kane. And Cougars defense just caught lacking, and Greg Manos is frustrated on the sidelines. Knight not going the way he wants it to, as Ford slams that down. That's off of Kane and out of bounds. Kill for Ford brings possession back to Concordia as Tyler Holobeck drops back to serve. That's received by Sharash. Dwyer tries to set up no one. Sharash just sends it over. Now Mosher sets up Holobeck straight into the net. Another error for Concordia, and a team that was hitting so well in set number 1 is now hitting in the negatives. S.J. Nelson back to serve for the first time tonight. Tosses it up, sends it across. Mosher sets up Ford, and Ford sends it straight into the net. Another error for Concordia, and Greg Manos is forced to call a timeout. He's trying to keep his team in set number 3. They trail by 4, and this team just playing rough volleyball in the last 2 sets, being defensively dominated by Aurora. They're struggling on the serves, and they'll try to get it together during this break. We'll take a break at the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium. Concordia, Chicago, trailing by 4, 6-10. Aurora continuing to press the momentum in set number 3, trying to close out a 3-set sweep of the Cougars. S.J. Nelson back to serve once again. He'll toss it up, send it across. Cardenas receives. Mosher sets to Holobeck from mid-range. Now Dwyer sets for McKee, and that's the first kill of the night for Martin McKee. Out of bounds off the Cougars. Now a 5-point lead for Aurora. S.J. Nelson back to serve once more. Now toss it up, send it across, and out of bounds. So the Cougars, they catch a break with another error. Sean Beckman coming back into the game. Tyrese Armstrong back to serve. Armstrong sends it across. McClellan straight back across. Mosher sets up Ford, and Ford able to get the tip. And the Cougars pick up the point. Another kill for Alexander Ford. And Armstrong will have another chance to serve. They'll toss it up and send that straight into the net. Another error for Concordia Chicago. That's to make their night's cleanliness even worse. Because now Mateo Sharash back to serve. He's on single game ace watch. And there's another one. Sharash, 6 on the night. Drops it in on the sideline. Gato can't save it. That's the team high for single game aces. ties a 3-set aces total in the conference. And he'll send that one straight into the net. Sharash ace hunting with that serve. And if Aurora continues momentum, that'll be Sharash's last opportunity at the line tonight. Falls one serve short of tying the conference high in a single game this season. Ford sends that across. Dwyer, a dump off and a kill. The Cougars getting put through the ringer right now. They trail 5-5 again. McKee sends it across. Mosher over to Beckman. Beckman blocked. Armstrong just has to send it across, and he'll send it out of bounds. McKee, that's an ace. Off the reach of Tyrese Armstrong. This team just acing up Concordia. That is their 10th ace of the night. McKee tosses it up and across. Hollebeck to Mosher, over to Beckman. McKee. Dwyer wins the 1v1 versus Godzowski. Now Hollebeck from mid-range. Aurora able to save it. McClellan dumps it down. Mosher sets up Hollebeck. That's kept up. Dwyer to Nelson. Armstrong slaps that across, and another kill for Josh McClellan. McClellan breaks into double digits, his 10th kill of the night. Makes it an 8-point lead for Aurora. McKee, that's going to be an error out the back line. Seven-point deficit for Concordia, Chicago. Mosher dropping back to serve once again. And he'll toss it up, send it across. Dwyer sets that up. Dwyer sets up Rodarte again. Hollebeck keeps it alive. Mosher just has to send it across. Dwyer to Rodarte. Dwyer, this time over to McClellan. And McClellan can't get it over the net. The Cougars, they'll take that one. They'll get the Geisman Gymnasium louder for Concordia. And it's been on something we haven't mentioned tonight. Aurora's team has done a great job with that sideline support, making a lot of noise. As Gato's able to save that, Hollebeck gets it across. Dwyer sets up Rodarte for a kill. Gunnar Rodarte, the senior out of Arizona, picks up his first kill of the night. That'll make it an 18-11 game. AJ Vescova into the game to serve now. Vescova gets that across. Armstrong to Mosher to Godzowski. Now Vescova to Nelson. Beckman gets it across. Rodarte can't get that one. Set over to McClellan. Mosher. Armstrong sets up Beckman. Fuck! Straight down. Beckman put nothing on it. And Vescova will have another chance to serve. Vescova straight into the net. Cardenas back into the game for the Cougars. They'll send it into the net for an error. That possession will head back over to Aurora. Lucas Meyer into the game to serve now. Aiden Maglaya coming into the game. It's actually Maglaya who will be serving. I mean, you look at this team as a whole, there's the biggest difference you notice on the roster between this Aurora team and this Concordia team is the age. Not only is the Cougars roster smaller, it is a lot less experienced. And I mean, they've played well, but those freshmen and sophomores on the Cougars end have been taking those starting spots. And that keeps the average age of this starting lineup very, very low. Eli Mosher. Eli Mosher and Van Gato, Tyler Hollebeck, the only upperclassmen on that starting roster. And the only other upperclassman on the roster as a whole, Sean Beckman. This is a very young Cougars team that's still trying to put it together. As Connor Gobetz drops back to serve. 4 points to go for Aurora. They lead by 8. Gobetz sends it across. Armstrong to Mosher to Hollebeck. And that's going to be a net error on Aurora. Point goes to the Cougars. Hollebeck sends that across. There goes Meyer. Mosher over to Armstrong. Vescova sets up Meyer. Now Mosher over to Armstrong. McKee over to Meyer, and Meyer gets the kill. They were trying, and they got him there. Lucas Meyer with the kill. And Aurora stays dominant. This Cougars team going up against the Spartans' second teamers, still struggling. S.J. Nelson back to serve. They'll toss it up, send it across. Cardenas receives. Now Mosher sets up Armstrong, and Armstrong with a shot to the near corner. Tyrese Armstrong, his second kill of the night. And Concordia going point for point with the Spartans. As this game continues to wind to a close, Armstrong sends that across. Vescova sets up Nelson, who gets up there. The Cougars able to save it. Vescova sets up Nelson. This time it's going to go for a kill. S.J. Nelson gets up there and slams that down. Lucas Meyer dropping back to serve. He'll toss it up and send that into the net for an error. Nathan Kerwan, one of the only 2 freshmen on this Aurora roster into the game now. Ford sends that across. Vescova sets for Maglaya. And Maglaya able to pick up the kill. That sets it to match point. And into the game was going to come Gunnar Rodarte. Dan Ames will call a timeout for his team before this final point. And it's giving the vibes of some sort of milestone for this Aurora team. And this timeout down to a close. Into the game is Rodarte. Back to service Derek Schober for the first time tonight. So Schober will drop back to serve for match point. Schober tosses it up, sends it into the net for a service error. This game should end with the Cougars serving. Mosher back to serve for Concordia. He'll send that across. Peskova sets for Maglaya. Now Hollaback blocked at the line. Beckman keeps it up. Mosher sets for Beckman, and Shahan Beckman picks up his first kill of the season. And this game will not end just yet. Mosher sends that across. Peskova sets Rodarte. Mosher sets up Beckman, and that is out of bounds, and that's how the game will end. Close call on the far side of the court goes Aurora's way. Officials ready to get out of here. That'll do it for set number 3. Aurora takes it 25-18 over Concordia. Chicago, the Cougars just out-dominated by Aurora. The Spartans playing like the number 10 team should tonight against Concordia Chicago. The Spartans continue their dominant run in conference. The Cougars continue their late slide in conference, their 5th straight NAC loss. As Concordia will search for a way to get their season back on the right track. Concordia falls to 1-5 in conference, 6-13 overall, as they get ready to stay at home, taking on St. Norbert's this Saturday at 1 p.m. as they look to get back into the win column. Aurora University, they head on from here to take on someone in the NAC. Aurora, next match up, they stay at home for a non-con matchup this Saturday with Carthage College. And I mean, some of those performances a highlight. Josh McClellan, 10 kills through 3 sets, 412 hitting percentage. We talked about those service aces. Mateo Sharash tying the conference high for a 3-set game with 6 service aces, 4 of those coming in a single set. Heck of a game for the kid out of Tennessee. And Aurora, you look at how many different players had kills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different players on this Aurora roster with kills, getting deep into the second team. Concordia, they're letting kills by Tyler Hollabeck with 6. Alexander Ford picked up 4. A team that played well in the first set, struggling in sets 2 and 3. They finished with an 0-14 hitting percentage of the team. Aurora finished with a 3.60 hitting percentage as a team. They move up to 5-0 in conference. They'll look to continue that in their next conference game in a week at Illinois Tech. But first up is a non-con matchup. Like we mentioned, Concordia Chicago, they stay at home this Saturday to take on St. Norbert's. You'll be able to catch that game right here on the Cougar Sports Network. Concordia Chicago looking to get back in the win column with that game. Strong start to the year. And been a slide since their last win, coming in the Wisconsin Stevens Point try against Viterbo University. That'll do it here tonight on the Cougar Sports Network. A huge thank you to everyone who made tonight's game possible. Grace King on the scoreboard, Ashley Schroll working with our libero, Sidney Lloyd working as our spotter, Luciana Moran Cruz as on the camera tonight. Our producers, Alan Mateo and Jess Gang. Our photographer, Emily Lucero. our Assistant Sports Information Director, Corey Welch, and our Sports Information Director, Kayla McLeod. I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to join us this Saturday for more Cougar volleyball. And as always, roll Cougs.
I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!